Live from the Brewhouse stage at Mountain Lakes Brewing Company in downtown Spokane, Washington, this is Wheat Wheat Don't Tell Me, the MLB Beer Quiz Show. The night before Christmas in your house may be Christmas Eve, but in my house it's Christmas Dave. I'm Dave Basaraba, and here is your host, Chris Cindric.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody. It's December, and the holiday beer drinking season is officially lit and totally legit. You no longer have to worry about bringing out that Christmas ale or winter warmer too early. So for those of you who left your holiday beers in the back of the fridge since last Christmas, like the Christmas lights left up all year on my neighbor's house, it's time to move them to the front, cuddle up on the couch in your holiday onesie, and enjoy our holiday beer traditions themed show. We have a drunk sleigh ride of a show for you tonight. The Inland Northwest Beer Choir and President Max Mendez will be here later in the show to play a game we call Not My Beer. Remember, if you'd like to be a contestant on the show, it's very easy. Just stop by Mountain Lakes Brewing on the first Wednesday of the month prior to the show, and we will help you glue your broken leg lamp back together. It's time to welcome our first contestant of the night. Hello, you are on Wheat Wheat Don't Tell Me. Tell us your name and something about yourself.
My name is Pam, and I am a special education teacher and the mother of four. Therefore, I drink beer.
So that's why you drink.
That's why I drink.
That's right. Okay. And a craft beer lover, is that your preferred beverage?
Absolutely.
And have you been to Mountain Lakes before?
I am a Mug Club member.
Oh, there you go. Well, welcome. Welcome to the show, Pam. Let me introduce you to our panel of brewers from the Inland Northwest Craft Brewers Association. From Genus Brewing, a man who likes to model unisex tank tops almost as much as he enjoys brewing beer. Please welcome owner and brewer Peter McArthur.
Hello, thank you.
Also from Genus Brewing, a man who once brewed a 5-gallon batch of beer in 15 minutes and 19 seconds. Please welcome brewer Logan Cook.
Thank you, Chris. I can beat it.
From Mountain Lakes Brewing Company, a man who loves the holiday season because he can start wearing all those ugly sweaters he still owns from the 80s. Please welcome your owner and brewer, Tim Hilton. And also from Mountain Lakes, a man who once got into a bar fight at the North Pole with 3 elves, 2 reindeer, and Mrs. Claus. Please welcome owner and brewer and your announcer, Dave Basaraba.
Mrs. Claus was just watching.
I heard she has a mean left hook.
She does.
Yeah. We record our show the first Wednesday of every month, and tonight's show is episode 7 of our Wheat Wheat Don't Tell Me podcast. You can find it at mountainlakesbrewco.com/podcast or any of your favorite podcast formats, including Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, and many more. Genus Brewing is also filming tonight's show, and it will be featured on their YouTube channel, Genus Brewing. Well, again, welcome to the show, Pam. As Santa once said, ho, 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 hold my beer. With that, you're going to be playing a game we call Who's Beer. This time, Dave is going to read you 3 quotations from recent beer news. If you can correctly identify just 2 of them, you will win our prize, free beer and a pint glass. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready to play.
All right, let's hear your first quote.
Were people drunk all the time? We'll possibly never know.
Said Dr. Susan Flavin, Associate Professor of History at Trinity College in Dublin, in reference to finding documents from 1565 that showed stonemasons from what country were permitted a daily allotment of 14 pints of ale.
I believe that's where we'll be visiting in April. I believe that's Ireland.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That is correct. Ah, yes, those Irish are drinkers for sure. Flavin estimates the beers would have been around 7% ABV and had a caloric level of about 400 to 500 calories per pint, largely due to the high oat content. So a lot of beer. Brewing's a pretty strenuous profession. Do you guys get a beer allotment? Do you have a certain amount of pints you drink?
As long as you're still standing, you're welcome to brew.
That's all. That's the rule.
Dave, when we brew, I think he said 12 was my limit because
At the 13th, I lost my pants situation.
That's a baker's dozen of beer, though.
It was before 13 that you lost them. It was at 13 that you realized it.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, Pam, here is your second quote.
If light reaches them, they break down very quickly and react with traces of sulfur compounds in the beer.
Says Charles Bamforth, a top researcher in brewing science, when explaining how a beer can get what?
It might make it tan. Or
If I want the beer darker, I just put it out in the sun and let it tan.
There you go.
I'm on board with that.
So, have you ever had a Heineken before?
Or Rolling Rock, things that aren't brown bottles. They tend to taste...
Skunky?
Yes.
That would be skunky.
Well done. Skunky beers are also known as light struck. Sunlight, not so much heat, is the killer of your beer. 3-MBT is the compound that is produced in your beer to make it smell like a skunk spray. Want to avoid that? Well, can your beers, avoid green or clear bottles, and keep your beers in cool, dark places. You guys...
Or coat your bottles with at least SPF 50.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
We dip them, actually. It was-
Right.
I mean, the people that don't know Peter and Logan, they not only brew, but they have the best homebrew shop in the Inland Northwest for supplies and everything else. But they also have a lot of great knowledge. We came in there and we said, man, we're just getting this skunky flavor. And they said, just coat the bottles in SPF 50. And since that day, we've never had a problem.
The beer doesn't taste skunky, but it slips out of our hands and breaks on the sidewalk all the time.
Which makes it more of an adventure.
Well, here is your third quote.
My advice for a beer lover going to Bavaria would be to not get overly fixated on Munich.
Said beer and travel writer Joe Stange when informing us on how to take our next what?
Our next vacation.
Next vacation, but it's surrounded around drinking, so we might call that a
Beercation.
A beercation. Thank you, millennials, for helping me put a word to what every vacation has been for me since I turned 21. Staycation, me staying at home drinking beer. Baycation, me drinking beer with my hot wife. Lakecation, me hanging out at mountain lakes drinking beer.
Lakecation!
Yeah. Anyone, you got special beercations you've taken?
I mean, I would also like to say I have a workcation, which is drinking beer at work, and oh wait, defecation. That's not. I mean, you can still drink beer, right?
You could drink beer. You're drinking beer on the toilet. That's all that is.
Well, they've got a phone holder that goes right above the toilet paper now. Why not?
Yeah,
a cup holder.
A nacation, drinking beer while you're naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. A paycation, you're getting paid in beer. A lamecation, you're on vacation, you run out of beer.
That's lamecation.
That's a lamecation. No vacation, I drink so much I'm numb.
No vacation.
That's right. Well, let's find.
There's also penication.
And that is?
When you're in confession or penance. And
right.
You're drinking, talking to the priest.
Say 3 Hail Marys and have a St. Helens.
That's right. You'll be fine.
You'll be good. All right, let's find out how Pam did with the quiz, Dave.
Well, that's 3 out of 3.
Well, congratulations, Pam. You have won our prize, free beer in a pint glass. Thanks for playing Who's Beer this time. Panelists, now a quote about some recent beer news for you. Here is your quote. Okay, boomer. Said the Australian Gen Zer to the 65-year-old bartender when the barkeep stated he could drink the young lad under the table. Why would the 65-year-old Aussie make such a claim?
I once said to a young lad that I could drink him under the table, and that was because he was only 4.
And he was under the table.
Yeah. It was a close contest, but I won out.
Right.
What do Aussies not do now?
Yeah, well, what did they used to do, and they're not doing as much so now?
Drinking Fosters?
No, well, just...
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them actually do that.
No, they don't.
They don't. Well, a recent study shows that Aussies drank an average of 13.1 liters of alcohol back in 1974 to 1975, compared to only 9.4 liters today. That's a 29% decrease. So the 65-year-old back in his day drank a lot more beer than the millennials and Gen Zers are drinking
certainly.
now.
That's exactly what I was about to say, actually.
Yep.
69% in the
We're going to give the
tables.
point. We're going to give the point to Peter.
Giving the point to Peter?
Yeah.
It's coming out.
Well, there you go.
He gets the point because of what he had planned to say?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair.
We do it. That's how
we do here.
Tim,
I was going to give the right answer.
Tim always acts like this is his first time on the show.
I want to see this study, by the way.
Here's the thing I looked up, though. There's 33.814 ounces in a liter. So there's 13.1 liters equals 443 ounces of equivalent. And that's the equivalent of 37 12-ounce beers drank in 1 year. And I'm thinking, okay, I call that like Christmas break.
Yeah.
I mean, right? That's not that many beers.
No.
37 in a year? People need to step
How big
up.
are their beers? Their cans are larger, so maybe they...
I'm saying 12 ounces.
Oh, no, it's all measured. It's all measured in ounces.
Yeah, Logan calls that Tuesday morning.
Exactly. Well, that wraps up the first part of our show. We'll now take a break and be back in a few with a game we call Bluff the Drinker.
Welcome back to the Brewhouse stage at Mountain Lakes Brewing Company in downtown Spokane, Washington. This is Week Week Don't Tell Me, the MLB Beer Quiz Show, with your host, Chris Cindric.
Well, thank you. We're playing tonight with our wassailling panel of brewers, Peter McArthur and Logan Cook from Genus Brewing, and from Mountain Lakes Brewing, Tim Hilton and Dave Basaraba. Right now, it's time for the We Don't Tell Me game called Bluff the Drinker. Remember, if you would like to be a future contestant on We Don't Tell Me, just stop by Mountain Lakes Brewing prior to each show, and we will add a little eggnog to your Irish spaceman. Hello, you're on We Don't Tell Me. Tell us your name and something about yourself.
Hey, Chris. My name is Moses, and I have 3.5 nipples.
Okay. Well, this is a new one. You have
Prove
three.
It. Prove it. Oh, sorry.
We are on YouTube if you want to,
I'm not that drunk.
All right, so you have 3.5 nipples. Are they now location? I guess is what I'm thinking.
The doctor said they're along my milk line. So
Okay.
it's right about here.
Right. So men have a milk line?
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, welcome, Moses. You are here to play our game where you must tell truth from fiction. Your topic, as always, on this show is beer. Holiday songs are so popular that many comedians have put their own twist on a few of them. Our panelists are each going to sing you a holiday song that may not be an actual version of the original by a famous comedian or comedians. Pick the one whose song is the truth, meaning it was actually sung by a true comedian, and you'll win our prize, free beer and a pint glass. Are you ready to play?
Absolutely, Chris.
Well, here is your first song from Tim Hilton.
Frosty the snowman was a jolly happy soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Frosty the snowman is a fairy tale, they say. He was made of snow, but the children know how he got drunk on Christmas Day. There must have been some whiskey in that old steel flask they found, for when they placed it to his lips, he began to dance around. Frosty the snowman was as drunk as he could be, and the children say he could drink all day and only stop to take a pee. Drunkety, drunk, drunk, drunkety, drunk, drunk, look at Frosty wobble. Drunkety, drunk, drunk, drunkety, drunk, drunk, he passed out on the cobble.
All right.
Thanks, folks. I'll be here all week.
Well, that is Frosty the Drunkard from Tim as your first choice. Here is your second song from Dave Basaraba.
You know Porter and Dunkel and Pilsner and Weizen. Amber and Pale Ale and Maybach and Marzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Doppelbock, the red-nosed reindeer, had a little drinking problem. And if you ever saw him, you could say he hit rock bottom. Olives in his martini used to be his drink of cheer until he went to a brewery and discovered local craft beer. Then one